Hey there, my friend. Let me ask you something right off the bat. If the season started today, would you really say this Cowboys roster is complete? I know. We've had an active offseason. Moves were made, expectations are high, and we've got over $30 million available in cap space. Sounds good on paper, right? But here's the truth. Even with all that, there are still key holes on this roster that just can't be ignored. And I'm not just talking about depth. I'm talking about starting roles. Positions that could determine whether we finally take that leap or once again fall short when it matters most. This isn't just about throwing money at names or stacking big contracts. It's about building smart, finding the right fits, and understanding where we're genuinely lacking. So in this video, I want us to break it down position by position. Let's be real about where this team stands and what absolutely needs to be addressed before Week 1. Because if the goal is the Super Bowl, and it should be, then the standard has to be higher. And that means facing what's missing with honesty. Now let me bring you in on this. For you, what's the Cowboys' biggest need right now? Is it running back, wide receiver, offensive line, or cornerback? Drop your pick in the comments. I really want to see where your head is at on this. And hey, while you're here, don't forget, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Your support helps us grow and hit our goal of 13,000 subscribers. Can't do it without you. Now that we've set the stage, let's dive into the offense, because that's where a lot of these questions start to get real. All right, let's get into it. Because if we're being honest, most of the concerns with this team right now live on the offensive side of the ball. Let's start at quarterback. No drama here. Dak Prescott is locked in. Whether you love him or think he still has more to prove, one thing is clear. There's no real QB controversy in Dallas. The Cowboys believe in him, and so does the locker room. Behind him, Cooper Rush and Trey Lance round out a stable room. No need to touch this position. But once we move behind Dak, that's when the red flags start to show, especially at running back. Look, bringing back Ezekiel Elliott might make some fans nostalgic, but let's be honest, it's not a long-term fix. Rico Dowdle is solid, and Deuce Vaughn brings something unique, but neither of them is the guy. And while names like Miles Sanders or Javonte Williams might sound appealing, they don't scream RB1. What this offense needs is a back who can carry the load, protect Dak, and move the chains when it counts. The draft? That might be our best shot. Then there's the wide receiver room, and this one's even more urgent. CeeDee Lamb is elite, no question. But after him, things get shaky fast. Brandon Cooks had flashes last season, but consistency wasn't there. And as much as I want to believe in Jalen Tolbert, he hasn't shown enough to lock down the WR2 spot. Kayvontae Turpin, great returner. Not a reliable option in the passing game. Bottom line, we can't go into the season hoping someone develops. We need someone who's ready now. Someone who takes pressure off Lamb and forces defenses to stay honest. And that brings us to the offensive line. Now this one might surprise you. There's a narrative out there that the O-line is in crisis, but I don't fully buy it. Is it perfect? No. But there's more depth here than people realize. Tyler Smith has been a home run pick. Zach Martin is still a force. And younger players like TJ Bass and Asim Richards, they've shown real potential. It's not about throwing veterans at the problem. It's about letting these young guys grow and gel together. That's how long-term success is built. So, if we're ranking needs, WR2 is a must. RB1 is close behind. And while the O-line needs monitoring, I'm not panicking there just yet. Now I want your take on this. Would you trust Jalen Tolbert to step up as WR2, or do you think we need to find a new guy in the draft? Drop your vote in the comments. I'm curious what you'd do if you were in charge. And hey, if you're enjoying this breakdown, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Your support helps us keep bringing content like this, and we're pushing hard to hit that 13,000 subscriber mark. Let's get there together. Next up, we flip to the other side of the ball, the defense. And while it's in better shape, it's not without its own question marks. Now let's shift the focus to the defense. which, believe it or not, is starting to feel more stable than the offense. That's not something we've been able to say very often in recent years, right? Let's start with the linebackers. This group quietly got a major boost with the arrival of Kenneth Murray Jr. He's athletic, aggressive, and brings starting experience from his time with the Chargers. Pair him with Damone Clark, and things start to look promising. Plus, there's a lot of buzz around DeMarvion Overshown, who's coming back from injury. Coaches love his versatility and energy. And don't forget about Jack Sanborn, picked up quietly, but he's a lunch pail guy who could carve out a role. This unit feels deeper than it's been in a long time. Now the safeties and edge rushers, that's where we can actually exhale a bit. Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, and Jaron Kearse have formed a reliable safety trio. They know the system, they trust each other, and most importantly, they produce. On the edge, Micah Parsons continues to be the centerpiece. We don't even need to say much there. And with players like Sam Williams and Dorrance Armstrong in the mix, the rotation looks solid. No panic here. But when we zoom in on the cornerbacks, that's where the real concern kicks in. We all love Trevon Diggs, but let's be honest. We don't know how he'll come back after that ACL injury. That's a tough road for any player, especially one who relies so much on explosiveness and quick reactions. Darren Bland was a revelation last season, but we can't ask him to carry the whole unit. Behind them, not much security. This is without question the weakest spot on the defensive roster, and if the Cowboys don't act fast, it could come back to bite us. And then there's the defensive tackle position. Maisie Smith needs to step up in year 2. Osa Odigizua is solid, but the rotation could really use one more guy who can disrupt from the inside. Doesn't have to be a superstar, but someone who commands attention and opens lanes for Parsons and the edge rushers. So here's the big question for you. If you were the Cowboys GM, would you go after a cornerback or a defensive tackle first in the draft? Let me know in the comments. I want to see how you'd build this defense. Coming up next, we put it all together and lay out the ideal draft strategy, round by round. Trust me, you'll want to hear this. All right, so now that we've talked through both sides of the ball, offense and, defense, it's time to map out what the Cowboys should do when they're on the clock at the NFL draft. And yeah, I know every year we say, this draft is critical, but this time, it really is. Dallas has holes to fill and can't afford to miss on these first 3 picks. Let's start with the first round. For me, it's crystal clear, wide receiver. The offense needs another legit weapon to pair with CeeDee Lamb, whether it's someone like Brian Thomas Jr., Adonai Mitchell, or even Xavier Worthy, who's flying up boards with his speed. The Cowboys need to grab a wideout who can step in and contribute immediately. Lamb's a star, but he can't do it alone. Adding a WR2 with real upside instantly changes the dynamic of this offense. In the second round, I'd go running back, and here's why. This class is actually deeper than people realize. You don't need to spend a first-rounder to get a guy who can carry the load. Players like Trey Benson, Blake Corum, or even Jalen Wright could all be available early in the second. With the right pick here, you land your RB1 and keep the offense balanced. Then in the third round, I'd target cornerback. By this point, names like Kamari Lassiter or Kyrie Jackson might still be on the board. Sure, it depends on how the board falls, but you can still find a corner who adds depth and competes for snaps right away. Remember, with Diggs recovering, this isn't a spot you can afford to overlook. And from the fourth round on, best talent available, but keep a close eye on defensive tackles and offensive linemen. You need at least one interior disruptor on defense, and maybe even a developmental tackle or guard to bolster depth. The beauty of this draft is that the value lines up nicely with the Cowboys' needs, as long as they don't try to get too cute. So let's do this. Drop your own top 3 priorities for the Cowboys in the draft down in the comments. What's your ideal plan? I'm curious to see how you'd stack it up. Up next, we're bringing it all. Together with a real talk finish, how close are the Cowboys to being real contenders? Look, I know it's frustrating. Every year we talk about potential and how the Cowboys are just a few pieces away. But this year feels different. And you feel it too, right? The Cowboys have over $30 million in cap space, a solid young core, and a real chance to shape the roster through a deep draft class. They're not rebuilding, they're reloading. But for this thing to actually work, the front office needs to be precise. No flashy distractions, no chasing headlines, just smart football decisions. What's needed now is simple. Fill the obvious holes, trust the youth that's ready to step up, and prioritize players who fit the system, not just the hype. Think about it. If they hit on 3 picks in this draft, 1 receiver, 1 running back, and 1 defensive piece, this team instantly becomes more dangerous. It's not a pipe dream, it's right there. But they've got to get it right. And here's where you come in. Do you honestly believe the Cowboys can become true contenders with just 3 smart draft picks? Let me know in the comments. I want your take. Convince me. And hey, before you bounce, if you've enjoyed the breakdown, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Your support really helps us grow and gets us closer to our goal of hitting 13,000 subscribers. We're building something here, and I want you along for the ride.